YouTube videos or something? Or
So over the course of my career as a catcher, I have been about as high as you can be, and I've had days where I've been about as low as you could be. Going into college baseball, when you're in high school or you're in grade school and you're dreaming of, playing at a 4-year school, you have this rosy picture of what college baseball is. You assume that if you are to get to that level, that is the cream of the crop, the best of the best, not only in terms of players, but coaches. And what most college athletes pretty quickly find out is there's going to be people that want to be there more than others. And I know that's hard to believe when it's college baseball and you want to assume that everybody wants to be there super bad and everybody's got something to prove and everybody wants to win and everybody's going to work their hardest. The truth is, in anything in life, even baseball, even college baseball, there are going to be people that want it more. There are going to be people that are willing to work harder. I committed to Illinois State the fall of my junior year of high school. I get there as a freshman, bright-eyed, pretty much a baby, first time away from home. And I had a pretty good fall. I made a good name for myself as a freshman. Coaches liked me. They saw, a bright future with my name on it. And the hopes for me were pretty high. We had a strong recruiting class. One kid from my recruiting class went in the 3rd round, got drafted in the 3rd round. And, Nick Zouras was in talks with this guy to be a really good draft class. We had a 5th-year senior catcher. The plan was he was going to take me under his wing, show me the ropes, kind of get me ready to take over that role as a sophomore when he graduates this year. I was pretty sure of my role, pretty sure of, how my career was going to go. And I was blessed enough to be the Saturday starting catcher. Our Saturday pitcher liked the way that I caught his 2-seam. So he wanted me to catch him. So I got to do that every Saturday. And every single series as a freshman. I also caught most of the midweek games. So I was catching about 2 out of 4 games. I was starting about 2 out of 4 games as a freshman behind the plate and did pretty well defensively. Didn't really hit well, but did well defensively. And I was really excited to get back to college as a sophomore, a year of experience under my belt. Felt like I knew what I was doing, was ready to take over the role of the starting catcher. And set myself up to get drafted as a junior. That was what I was planning on. So I get on campus as a sophomore, and we have a transfer student, a junior catcher. So, I'm like, okay, this is not what I had planned on. Ultimately, not a big deal. I'll beat him out, whatever. And turns out this catcher was pretty good, man. He had taken a gap between high school and college. So very physically mature, very sure of himself. And he wasn't easy competition. I wasn't just going to beat him. I'm 19, going on 20, and this guy is about 24, going on 25 or something like that. And he had experience. He had a lot of years of JUCO ball and, just experience as a man. So just like that, my plans changed. My path for myself through college baseball changed pretty fast. And something that I didn't see coming, but is very common. Like looking back at it as a college coach, of course I'm going to bring in another catcher with experience. What if this sophomore doesn't pan out the way we want him to? We have to have somebody else to go to. So of course that sophomore year spring comes and me and this other catcher end up splitting time. I wasn't the everyday starter as a catcher, but I was in the lineup and, I was contributing to the team. So I wasn't too upset about that. I go play summer ball again. So I'm like, okay, cool. Back on plan, have a great summer, have a great junior year. Get drafted, go play. Same situation, that older catcher is still there. He's my competition, hoping to beat him out and play over him this year. That's what I intended to do. And then that fall, I end up tearing my labrum. So can't throw anymore. Get it checked out by the doctor. They say just rehab, no surgery, which is good. But I was still going to have to sit out for maybe 6 months while I rehabbed my shoulder and got it back up to strength and then, got back on a throwing program. So I was done for the fall, which was tough. I was trying to win a spot and get drafted this year. So that was a setback that I faced junior year. Junior year spring comes. Same deal, splitting time with this older catcher. Not exactly how I wanted it to go, but, there was a lot of things that didn't go to plan. So, I was less upset about it, and I was more like accepting of the fact at this point. I was kind of, getting ready to roll over and just accept the fact that my career was going to go this way. And then that summer going into senior year, with this mindset of like, hey, baseball's coming to an end. This is really it for me. I go out and start trying to get job internships. And that summer going into senior year, I worked an internship and I played baseball in a local league. So you could kind of tell how my mind had shifted away from, being the best of the best, trying to be the starter and get drafted, to me kind of accepting a reality that I didn't want, which is where kids can get into trouble. And that's where the lesson in this video is going to come from. Fast forward into senior year, I go into the fall and I'm like, hey man, this is it. Might as well have some fun with it. We end up getting a whole new coaching staff. So that was pretty exciting. We had some talent and I was like, let's see what we can do this year. Senior year spring comes. Nick Zouras is starting behind the plate for game one. I was a starter for opening day. It's everything I ever wanted. Just took me till my senior year to get that. Had an okay weekend. The next weekend comes and I'm the starter again. Turns out I had a pretty poor weekend that weekend. Wasn't that great defensively, wasn't reliable enough to where my coach was like, hey, this guy might be a problem for us this season. And objectively speaking, if I would have seen myself catch that weekend, I probably would have thought the same thing. So going into our third weekend of play, there's a sophomore catcher starting on Friday night. And here's Nick, a senior, with his career coming to an end, watching a sophomore play over him. And it was at this moment that I had a choice to make. I could totally roll over and let my career end this way, and maybe point the finger or blame somebody else instead of myself, or I could take control of what I had left, and really try to go out with a bang. And that's what I chose to do. I called a meeting with my head coach, made my case for why I thought I was the starting catcher, and started to get more and more opportunities behind the plate and maximized every single one of them. And then going into conference play, I caught every single game. We won a conference championship, made a Louisville regional, and had a great year. And I attribute a lot of that to myself behind the plate and the mindset that I adopted, just winning at all costs. And I guess I'm making this video to tell you, ultimately, the outcome of your career, who you're remembered for, is up to you. It's the choice that you make. And it has to be an active choice. Sometimes it takes, really getting faced with reality to make a change. But just know that things are not going to come as easy as you want them to, because then you wouldn't necessarily appreciate them. Sometimes you need to be tested over and over and over until you get to that point where you take it as seriously as you need to. And that's the way that it should be. That's the way that it should be. If it came easy, you wouldn't appreciate it. And if it wasn't hard, it wouldn't feel so sweet when it finally does happen. So my advice to you is, you're going to be tested. But as long as you get up and continue to try and really give it your all and come from a pure place, I'm of the belief that things will happen. You just need to be ready for them. So all of these tests are just kind of making sure you're ready for when that thing that you want does come. Thanks for watching this video. I think we're going to go back to regular drill content. But if you like these, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment.